Dolphins fans, it's your boy, Willie Fins. Shout out Spirals crew. You know who you are. I'm excited to get it going on Dolphins Live once again. We're live every Thursday. We appreciate you guys joining us here. We're going to be talking about some Dolphins news, Dolphins rumors. But first, I want to know, where are you watching from? Go down. Shout out your city. We got producer Jeff Cooperstein here as well. Shout out your city. We're going to give you some shout outs. Batman is in the chat. David Storm as well saying fins up. We got Mr. Hernandez watching from Tampa. Cameron Reed, Modesto, California. My guy John Ruiz, an MVP here at Dolphins Today, is in Miami. Purple Poison from my hometown of Houston, Texas. David Storm is in West Virginia. I've actually been to West Virginia. Interesting place. Shane is watching from Atlanta. Justin Strain, Davenport, Iowa. Anthony, also in Miami. Eli Ruiz, Fort Lauderdale. Cardfin68 is up there in the great state of Massachusetts. Ted is watching from Costa Rica. Ian is in the Bay Area. We got Jonathan in Texas. We're in Texas right now at the Chat Sports Studios in Dallas. Herbert is watching in Jacksonville. Devin in Rhode Island. Young King Entertainment, Compton, California. Ramon is in Savannah, Georgia. Poppy in Bristol. Got over 100 people watching already. We appreciate you joining us here on Dolphins Live, and we are going to be previewing later on in the show the game on Saturday night between the Raiders and the Dolphins. So I want to know, who do you got? Who is going to win that game on Saturday night? A battle of I know it's preseason, but two undefeated teams going at it on Saturday night at Hard Rock Stadium. Do you have the Raiders type LV, or do you have the Dolphins type MIA? Tua might play, might not play. We're going to talk about that in a sec. We got Aldo saying Miami's going to win 24-21, and we witnessed a fantastic game last Saturday, a 26-24 Dolphins win. I would love another close game, Aldo. We'll see what happens. Justin is going with the Fins. Robert Thomason going with the Fins. Reaper going with the Fins. Herbert saying Miami's going to win. Cameron Reed saying, of course Miami's going to win. Fear the Kilt saying Fins, Miami all the way. Brad says 3-0 Miami. That would be something. That'd be a defensive game for sure. Take two edits saying Fins. We got Jeff Allen in the chat. I don't know if this is a Mitchell Rentz burner account, but Jeff Allen is saying the Raiders are going to win. Boo, Jeff Allen, boo. Come on, I know it's preseason, but still, we want the Dolphins to win this game. Now, a big question coming into this game, is Connor Williams going to play? He did not play in the Dolphins' first preseason game. Here he is at training camp, at practice. He cannot snap the football. Is he going to play on Saturday? Type Y for yes, or if he is going to be a coward and not take the football field because he knows the wrath of Will Scott will come upon him on the first bad snap. Go down, type C for coward in the comments. Card Fins is saying Connor Williams is going to be a coward. We got Ninja Alex 2K7YT saying coward. John Ruiz says Connor Williams is scared. I could not agree more. We got Herbert saying Connor Williams is going to play. Jeff Cooperstein, I know you're a Connor Williams fan. You're a UT guy. Is he going to play? Do you think he's going to play?
I think he's going to play, and I think he's going to surprise some people. I'm
the
Connor
my
Williams
goodness.
truther here.
You think Connor's going
to do well?
But look, you also covered the Dallas Cowboys pretty closely, and you saw that experiment fail in Dallas last offseason. I just don't think that this is going to work. I really don't.
I think they have to do it out of necessity because they don't have anyone to play the position right now.
They have Dieter. Dieter's back.
Dieter's back?
Now, Dieter was out for 2 weeks, but Dieter is now back.
So there's pressure on Williams to have a good game.
Absolutely.
So he needs
Dieter
to play
looked good. Dieter looked good. Pretty clean snaps. There was one, I think he had 11 total snaps. There was one snap that was a little bit high. Outside that, completely clean.
I'm rooting for Connor, man. I hope he gets the job.
I'm rooting for him too.
No, you're not.
But
you want him to fail.
Let's make this very clear. I would rather him fail now than fail later, because if he fails now and they realize that now it is not a good idea, J.C. Treader is still out there. Jake Lucina is still out there. Matt Paradis is still out there. Michael Dieter is healthy. He can step in. There's better options right now. It would be a disaster if we get to the regular season. Then you figure out Connor Williams cannot snap the football in actual games. J.C. Tretter is back in Cleveland. Matt Paradis is in Tampa Bay. Jake Lucine is somewhere. They're out of options. That is my biggest fear, which is why the Dolphins should sign Jake Lucine or J.C. Tretter. Hashtag JC to Miami. Hashtag Lucina to Miami. Let's make it happen. Now, before we get in the show, I also want to ask you all this. Who is your favorite player on the Dolphins? We're going to be giving some shout-outs down in the chat. Go down, comment your favorite player on the Dolphins. For me, it's probably Wilk or Tua. One of those two. Tyreek, though, has become a favorite for me. I know he hasn't played a snap with the Dolphins yet, but he's definitely up there. We got In Balletti saying Cheetah. We got Aldo saying JC to Miami. There we go. Look, if JC signs, JC's instantly my favorite on the Dolphins. I'll probably have to get a JC jersey. I forgot to say Sterling Hoffrichter, by the way. I hope Sterling's not watching it. I didn't say he's my favorite player. Sorry, Sterling. Ben saying JC Tretter. We got Devin saying Jalen Waddle. We got David Storm saying Tua. You know, Tua's become one of my favorites just because of all the unnecessary hate he's getting. It makes me root for him even harder. We got Milio Davis saying Hollywood Vaughn. We got Brad saying Jevon Holland as well. We're going to talk about Jevon Holland a lot on today's show. He's had the best week of practice out of anybody. We got Timothy saying Penguin, Jalen Waddle. David Storm, absolutely, saying in the chat. We got Brandon saying Waddle as well. We got Mike McDaniel saying Robert Thompson. Zealous Smoke also showing love to Mike McDaniel, the swaggiest head coach in the National Football League. Brad also saying Holland down in the comments section. Now, later on in today's show, we are going to be getting into a Dolphins mailbag. And you might be asking, Will, I want to get on the show. How do I get on the show? Well, if you use hashtag Dolphins to ask a question, that's going to give producer Jeff Cooperstein a chance to find you. But you got to use hashtag Dolphins. Or if you want to guarantee a spot on today's show, you can super chat. We will shout you out. We will get your question on the screen. That's the best way to get on today's show. Also, it shows your support of Dolphins Today, which we certainly appreciate. Go down, use hashtag Dolphins or super chat to get on the mailbag later on at today's show. Dolphins fans, I am Will Scott. Welcome into Dolphins Today. On today's show, we're going to be talking about some winners and losers from Dolphins training camp this week. We saw 3 practices go down. I'm going to be breaking down who looked good and who didn't look so good. Who looked good is Trent Sherfield, man. And Trent Sherfield is a near lock to make this football team at this point. In my initial roster projection video a couple months ago, I did not have him making this football team. Now, I have him as the 4th wide receiver. That is the big jump that Sherfield has made. Now, Tuesday's practice, he was wearing the orange practice player of the day jersey, and then he goes out Tuesday's practice and has maybe the best practice that he's had as a Dolphin. He looked fantastic. Here's what Barry Jackson said. He's very likely going to be on this team. Not only was he wearing the orange practice jersey for his good work in a practice last week, but he followed that up with 4 touchdowns in red zone drills Tuesday. On the first set of red zone drills, he caught TDs from Tua Tagovailoa, Teddy Bridgewater, and Skylar Thompson. A half hour later, he hauled in another touchdown from Bridgewater in red zone drills. And then he caught a 15-yard pass from Tua Tagovailoa in full 11-on-11 work. Sherfield also caught 1 pass for 33 yards in the preseason opener. It would be very surprising if he's not a Dolphin when the regular season starts. And in camp and throughout the offseason programs, we have seen a very, very interesting and highly contested wide receiver battle for the last couple spots. But Sherfield has separated himself from Williams, Craycraft, Bowden, other guys on this team. I think Sherfield is a safe bet to make the 53-man roster at this point. He has looked very, very good. Excited to watch him again on Saturday night. Now, will Trent Sherfield make the team? Type M for make, or if you think he gets cut and disagree with me, type C for cut down in the comments section. Go down, predict it. Is Sherf going to make this football team? Let's talk about Austin Jackson, because Austin Jackson is a winner. You're seeing it on your screen. If you can believe it, Austin Jackson has shown that much improvement this offseason. He is slated to be the starting right tackle on this football team, protecting Tua Tagovailoa's blind side. And we did see him on Saturday, just 11 snaps. So granted, it is a limited sample size, but he looked good. Allowed 0 pressures. He's looked better in training camp. He's had a really solid week of practice this week. Omar Kelly last week said this, who was working for the Sun-Sentinel. That was his last game covering the Dolphins last week. But he said this, Austin Jackson looked like trash last year this time. He looks respectable now, actually looks like an NFL starter. That coming from Omar Kelly. And look, with that, I think you have to credit the coaching staff. Mike McDaniel has come in and assembled a very, very impressive coaching staff, including Matt Applebaum, the new offensive line coach, who year after year put together some of the best offensive lines in the ACC at Boston College. He's in his first year as the Dolphins offensive line coach, and he's done a great job with Jackson. The next thing on his plate is making Connor Williams a capable center or making Eichenberg a capable left guard. But Jackson, I feel a lot better about him at right tackle than I did previously. I want to see him go out and produce in the regular season because that's a big job protecting Tua's blind side. Now, before we get into my next winner, go down, subscribe, because we are so close to 27,000 subscribers. Go down, hit that big red sub button, help us get to 27,000 subscribers by kickoff on Saturday. I think it's possible. Go down, subscribe. Let's talk about Durham Smythe, the second tight end on this team behind Mike Gesicki. And much like Trent Sherifled, he was wearing the orange practice player of the day jersey this week. He wore it at yesterday's practice. So Smythe has had a good week of practice. Didn't really see him in that preseason game on Saturday. Maybe he'll play a little bit more this Saturday. But here's what he did last season as a Dolphin. 34 receptions, 357 yards, no touchdowns, 10.5 in terms of average per reception. So Smythe, I think, is in for a bigger and better year this year. I'm excited to see what he's going to do with new OC Frank Smith and, of course, new head coach Mike McDaniel. But Smythe is a very, very solid tight end, too, on this football team. Jevon Holland, man, he might be the biggest winner from training camp this week. He's had probably the best practice week of any Dolphin has this entire offseason. He has looked that good. He had 2 interceptions in yesterday's practice, including a pick 6, and then had another interception today. 3 interceptions and a pick 6 in the last 2 practices for Jevon Holland. No surprise that he was wearing the orange practice player of the day jersey today. Barry Jackson said this about yesterday's practice. The Dolphins' ball-hawking safety intercepted Tagovailoa twice. The 4th and 5th picks thrown by Tagovailoa in the last 2 practices. Holland also made an incredible play, knocking away a deep pass from Tagovailoa to Tyreek Hill. On the first interception, Holland jumped in front of a receiver to intercept a Tua pass and returned it 50-plus yards for a touchdown. On the second, Holland made another nice play on the ball to snag the pick in red zone drills. The other Holland pick also wasn't a good decision by Tua, who was trying to get the ball to Durham Smythe. We're going to talk about those 2 interceptions again in a second, but let's focus on Holland because Jevon is going to be a star. We saw him really solidify himself as a top-tier safety in his rookie season, had a top 5 grade at his position by PFF. As a rookie, now he's going to have an even better sophomore season, I think, going to solidify himself as a top 5 safety in this league. You heard that right. This guy's going to be a top 5 player at his position. Will Jevon Holland be a Pro Bowler this year? Type Y for yes or type N for no. It is the pinned comment on today's video. When ad break comes, go down, chime in. Is Jevon Holland going to be in the Pro Bowl this year? Let's talk about Lynn Bowden Jr. because Lynn Bowden had a very, very solid game on Saturday. Had that long reception for a touchdown from Skylar Thompson, tied for the team lead in receptions against the Buccaneers. And then in Tuesday's practice, he had a 50-yard touchdown after a very good showing, of course, against the Bucs. So Bowden, all of a sudden, is creating a lot of momentum for himself. He was a little bit quiet at practice last week, not so much this week. He has looked very, very good. Taking a look at this depth chart, you have about 6, maybe 7 wide receivers that are going to make this team. But I think Bowden has a very good chance to be the 6th wide receiver behind Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Cedric Wilson, Eric Ezukanma, and Trent Sherfield. Lynn Bowden, stock is up for him. Stock is down for Preston. We're going to get to him in a second. And speaking of those losers, let's get into those losers. The first loser, Dolphins quarterbacks. Dolphins quarterbacks have really, really struggled this week at practice. Interception after interception. In fact, on Tuesday, they threw 6 interceptions in Tuesday's practice. Tua threw 6 total this week. So when you're looking at that, don't overreact is what I would say. Because when you look at Tua, he had very, very good weeks of practice leading up to this week. So I would not overreact to this. Now, Tuesday's practice was rough. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. Tuesday's practice was really, really rough. You had Skylar throw a couple picks, Teddy threw a couple picks, Tua threw a couple picks. But in regards to Tua, I know the national media is probably going to say, he's not going to be good because of all these interceptions. No, don't overreact. Tua looked very consistent in the weeks leading up to this. Not to mention, Jevon Holland had about half of those interceptions. So when you take that into consideration, I'm looking more positively toward Jevon than I'm looking negatively toward Tua. Javon's one of the best safeties in the league. Tua's testing him. Jevon won most of those battles, but you got to give Tua some credit because he went right back at Jevon in today's practice, threw a couple tutties. Now, just a reminder that we're going to be live on Saturday night, 6:45 p.m. Eastern Time, for a Dolphins-Raiders watch party. It's going to be a lot of fun. We had a blast the first Dolphins preseason game. We're going to be live at 6:45 p.m. Eastern Time, 5:45 p.m. Central Time, I should say, on Saturday night. Dolphins, Raiders. We're going to go right at Mitchell Renz, man. We're going to try to pull off, in terms of Super Chats, a David against Goliath upset. If we take down the Raiders report, that's going to be talked about forever here at the Chat Sports office. So I'm going to take some 5 smooth stones, boom, fire them in Mitchell Renz's direction. We're coming for you, Mitch. Join us live Saturday night. You don't want to miss it, 6:45 p.m. Eastern Time. Let's talk about Preston Williams, man. He is still on this team. For now, he might get traded pretty soon because Jerry Jackson is saying his bid to make this roster is on life support. Now, when you're looking at Preston's chances, I don't think he has a better chance than Lynn. I don't even think he has a better chance than River Craycraft. Here was my roster projection in terms of wide receivers. So 6 receivers I am making this team. Tyreek, Jalen, Ced, Trent, Eric, and Lynn. And then I have River Craycraft getting cut barely. I like Craycraft. Hopefully they can find a way to keep him. Mohamed Sanu and Preston get cut. Braylon Sanders, they'll probably figure out a way to get him on the practice squad. But a trade might happen soon with Preston because when you look at teams like the Chicago Bears, they're desperately in need for wide receiver help. Other teams are going to have wide receivers go down. Maybe those teams call the Dolphins about Preston, but Preston, we've talked about it a lot. I don't think he wants to be in Miami. He's complained about his opportunities on Twitter. He's ripped Mike McDaniel. It's ridiculous. Get him out of here. Trade him. Because you're going to cut him anyway. You have to get something in return. Trade Preston Williams. Now let's talk about Connor Williams because he's a loser as well. He had a brutal week of practice. It feels like it can't get any worse with Connor, but it does as he makes the transition from left guard to center. And when you're reading about what's going on at practice the last few days, it's not pretty. In fact, I've received several tweet notifications like, Connor Williams, bad snap. Put my phone down for 2 seconds. Connor Williams, bad snap. Put my phone down again. Connor Williams, bad snap. It happens over and over again each and every single day at practice. Here's what Barry Jackson said about Tuesday's practice. Connor Williams, continuing his transition from left guard to center, had a few more high snaps that Tua snatched near or above his head. Here's what happened the next day. Center Connor Williams had a couple of high snaps early in practice. Wait for it. Later, there was a bobbled exchange between Tagovailoa and Williams. Gee, I wonder whose fault that was. I have no words. I'm not going to rant any further. I'm not going to scream. I'm not going to yell. I'm trying to be calm. I'm trying to be very calm. But when you look at the Dolphins center situation, it is a mess. It is a big mess. It is a problem. Chris Greer, for once in your life, you have to take this position seriously. Promote Michael Dieter back to the starting center. Sign J.C. Treader. Do something, but you cannot, for the love of all human beings, go into that first regular season game with Connor Williams as your starting center, it's going to be ugly. Now, let's talk about Saturday for a second. Is he going to play on Saturday? Is Connor Williams actually going to play? Type P for play or type W for won't. If you're going to be watching this watch party on Saturday, which, again, you shouldn't miss it. It's going to be a lot of fun. But if you're going to be watching that watch party and Connor Williams trots onto the football field as a starting center, I might have to get some popcorn out. It's going to be something else. Let's talk about Brennan Scarlett. Brennan Scarlett is on the roster bubble at the linebacker position. In fact, there's a lot of linebackers on the roster bubble, and Scarlett missed the last 2 days with an injury, and he's competing for a spot in a crowded linebacker room. Now, we do not know the specifics of this injury. If I hear anything, I'll certainly report it here at Dolphins Today. But Scarlett's in trouble, and when you look at some of the other linebackers on this team, I think that he might be in danger of missing this team. I know a lot of y'all are kind of hyping up some of the other guys, other linebackers that I had getting cut. I had Scarlett making the team in my last roster projection, but this is a crowded linebacker room. And look, I mean, when you compare Scarlett to Good, you can make the argument that Cameron Good has a little bit more upside. Maybe that's why they'll put him on the team. But here were the 8 linebackers I had making the team. Scarlett is in there for now, but he cannot afford to keep missing practices because, and look, I understand it's an injury, he can't play, but that's not to his benefit, missing practices, and other guys are making an impact, and he's not. Now, in terms of odd men out, here's what I have. Sam McGuavin, I have him missing the team. Calvin Munson, Darius Hodge, DeAndre Johnson, Cameron Good. Those are the 4 linebackers I have getting cut, and I think they'll figure out a way to get practice, or I should say Cameron Good, on the practice squad. So we'll see what happens with the roster in terms of the linebackers. Now, before we get into our first mailbag, I want to ask y'all this question. If you had to pick a center right now, would it be Connor Williams or would it be Michael Dieter? Type CW for Williams or type MD for Dieter. Go down. I'm going to give you all some shout-outs. We got John Ruiz saying
CW,
Dieter.
baby.
We got Ninja Alex, 2K7Y, saying Michael Dieter. We got Chris saying Michael Dieter. Are you typing CW in the chat, producer Jeff Cooperstein? I cannot understand you, man. Brensley Campbell saying Dieter. Batman saying Dieter. Dieter looked pretty good on Saturday in that first preseason game. Just one snap. It was a little bit high, but it's better than any snap Connor Williams has delivered in his entire career. Zealous Smoke saying Dieter. Robin Cole saying Dieter. Carlos saying Dieter. John Ruiz, we might get to that in a second. Good mailbag question. Dolphins saying neither. Hashtag JC to Miami. Hashtag Lacina to Miami. Bill Lyons saying sadly it should be Michael Dieter. He's better. That is a good answer because there are better options than both of these guys. Obviously, J.C. Treader being the one that we've talked about a lot. But Dieter, give Dieter credit because he's shown improvement this offseason after a really, really bad year last year. And keep in mind, he was hurt. He had the foot injury. He only played in 8 games. So maybe Dieter in his second year as a center, keep in mind he was a guard before, can show improvement at that position.
Let me ask you this, Will.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is Dieter a better option than Williams at center tenfold?
Yes, 100%. It's not even close. Yeah.
Then why isn't the Dolphins coaching staff making this?
I don't know.
Decision?
Well, so that's a very good, very, very good question. So earlier in the offseason, when I was talking about JC to Miami, I'm like, why are they not signing a center? Why are they not drafting a center? Why are they not signing Treader or anybody else for that matter? And I'm like, maybe they believe in Michael Dieter to be the guy. And I'm like, I respect that if that's the case. But I don't think they believe in Dieter. Otherwise, they wouldn't be testing out Connor Williams at center. And at first, we were like, oh, are they testing out Williams to kind of be the emergency center? But then Connor's like, no, I'm going to be the starting center on this football team. So we'll see what happens. But if I had to bet on it, I would say Dieter will be the starting center week 1 against New England. And if that happens, oh, hallelujah, hallelujah. Oh, I'd be the happiest man alive. Battle of McDaniels this weekend. Mike McDaniel against Josh McDaniels. Who you got? Type M for Mike McDaniel or type J for Josh McDaniels. It's funny, Coop. When I was in my job interview here at Chat Sports with Tom Downey, you know what he asked me? He said, "What do you think? Who do you think was the best hire of the offseason and the worst hire?" You know what I said? Best hire, Mike McDaniel. Worst hire, Josh McDaniels. That is exactly what I said. So we have best hire against worst hire on Saturday.
Is this before you knew you were going to be the Dolphins?
That's correct. That's correct.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you were just projecting.
I was a huge fan of that McDaniel hire. I mean, I was a huge fan of Mike getting hired. I mean, the guy's a genius. The guy's an offensive genius. He's obviously very, very well respected around the league. He's been an assistant for a long time under Shanahan. So, yeah, this was a great hire, best hire of the offseason, in my opinion. And, look, he's already changed the culture in Miami. And when you're talking about Brian Flores, nobody's going to say that Brian Flores is a bad football coach. Brian Flores is a really good coach, but there was a disconnect between him and the locker room, right? And so sometimes that's what we see. When a coach is winning but gets let go, there's normally a disconnect between the GM and the head coach, or the front office of the head coach, or the head coach and the players. All of the above when it comes to Flores.
They had to go get the hip coach who's in with the culture and all that to get the locker room together.
Exactly. And Mike McDaniel has done that. The players have bought in. You finally have a coaching staff that believes in Tua Tagovailoa. Let's give some shout-outs. David Storm is saying Mike McDaniel is going to win the battle of the McDaniels. We got Eddie Hutchins saying McDaniel. Luis Gonzalez saying McDaniel. S. Roy saying McDaniel. Devin saying Swaggy Mike McDaniel. Ninja Alex is saying Mike McSwaggy going to win the battle of the McDaniels this weekend on Saturday night. Now, I do want to ask, who is your favorite player on the Dolphins? Go down in the comments section. Chime in. We're going to give some shout-outs. Is it Christian Wilkins? Is it Jalen Waddle? Is it Tua Tagovailoa? Is it Jevon Holland? Go down. Let me know who you got. We got Ninja saying Mike Gesicki. Man, I wanted them to extend Mike Gesicki. Hopefully this is not his last year as a Dolphin. Nikki Davis saying, I think Connor will be fine at center. I hope you're right, Nikki. I really hope he proves me wrong. Skylar Thompson has proved me wrong, and I have admitted that I was wrong on Skylar Thompson, so I will admit it if I'm wrong on Williams, but I don't think I am. Devin saying Preston Williams. Golden Thumb saying Tyreek Hill. Got over 300 people watching live. Nikki Baldy saying Penguin. What you got, Coop? Yeah, let's do that. Jeff saying, what's up with Ced Wilson? Ced looked pretty good on Saturday. I'll check to see if any news come out about Ced, Jeff. We got Jacob saying Jevon. Waddle saying McKaiser Ferguson. Cameron Reed, I should say, saying Jevon Holland. Carlos saying Xavier Howard. Cameron Reed saying Xavier Howard, Josh White saying Xavier Howard. Luis Gonzalez saying Tua. Eddie Hutchins saying Cheetah. Appreciate you all commenting. Appreciate you joining us here on Dolphins Today. And we are going to get into a Dolphins mailbag in a few seconds. Dolphin72 saying Austin Jackson. Again, for the mailbag, go down, use hashtag Dolphins or Super Chat. We have a lot of people watching right now. If you just use hashtag Dolphins and don't send it to Super Chat, we cannot guarantee you a spot on the show. But if you Super Chat, we will get you on the show, guaranteed spot on the show. We'll give you a shout-out. It's a great way to show your support for Dolphins Today. Dolphins fans, welcome in to this edition of the Dolphins Mailbag. I am Will Scott, answering questions from our loyal subscribers here at Dolphins Today. We're going to be talking about some trade rumors, some other rumors in general. Excited about this mailbag, and we're getting this to you guys on game day, game in a few hours against the Las Vegas Raiders. Sean Michaels saying, hey, Will, who should be the top trade target for the Dolphins? That is a great question, Sean. We're going to see some trades go down before the start of the season. I think it's more likely that the Dolphins trade away a player than trade for a player. But if they're going to make a trade, it should be for Tevin Jenkins. I know I've talked about in the show that I have a little bit more faith in Austin Jackson than I previously had. But Tevin would still be the far better option at right tackle. A second-round pick last year, has a lot of upside. Now, he has some red flags. You're kind of talking about maturity issues with Tevin. That's kind of the talk in Chicago, that he's had some maturity issues. He only played in 5 games last year. Injury concerns are there with him as well. But I really like the potential with Jenkins. I just think he needs a fresh start. Maybe that fresh start could be in Miami. He could be the starting right tackle on this football team for the foreseeable future. Now, do you want to trade for Tevin Jenkins? Type T for trade or type P for pass. Rumored that he's on the trade block. Those rumors have quieted down a little bit in the last week or two, but he still might get traded by the Bears. Type T for trade or type P for pass. Let's get into our next question from Trey Harderson. Dolphins, hashtag Dolphins. Who do you think is going to be higher on the wide receiver depth chart? Trent Sherifled or Lynn Bowden Jr.? That's a great question, Trey. So those two guys, in terms of where they were at, were in a pretty even spot not too long ago. But Sherifled has separated himself. Right now, I actually have Sherf ahead of Ezukanma for the 4th wide receiver spot on this team. When you read columns from Barry Jackson, Omar Kelly, whoever, they're going to say that Sherifled is a near lock to make this football team. I tend to agree. I think Sherf is going to make this football team as the 4th wide receiver. I think Lynn will make it as the 6th wide receiver, maybe Bowden getting that final spot. John Ruiz says, hey, Will, Dolphins trade Austin Jackson and Preston Williams for Orlando Brown and Roquan Smith and a 5th-round pick. Man, that would be something. I don't think Orlando Brown's going to get traded. I do think that Roquan is going to get traded. So let's think about this for a second. If you want to make a trade with the Bears, maybe trade for Roquan and Tevin, give up Austin Jackson, Preston Williams, and draft picks. I wish it could be a 2-for-2 swap, but they're going to need some draft picks in addition to those 2 players. I think it's possible. I think it's unlikely, but a trade for Roquan, it could happen. There's other teams obviously going to be interested in him as well. Pretty much every team in the league going to be interested in a trade for Roquan Smith. And I think all of you should be interested in BetUS because we're giving you a 125% deposit bonus. If you use promo code Dolphins125 at chatsports.com/bet, that's how you can get this great deal. So that means if you put $100 in, you're going to get $125 free cash basically to bet with. Chatsports.com/bet. You have to go to that link to get this deal. Let's take a look at the odds for Saturday night because you could bet on this game Saturday night. The Raiders are a 1-point favorite, the total at 41.5. And much like last week against the Bucs, the Dolphins are 1-point underdogs. And I know a lot of y'all that bet on that game were gripping on that field goal that hit the right upright because that would have decided it. So yeah, it's going to be a fun game. If you think the Dolphins are going to win, start 2-0 in the preseason, go bet on them. Chatsports.com/bet. You got to use promo code Dolphins125. Eric Ezukanma Burner says, does Williams get cut? I'm assuming you mean Preston Williams if he doesn't get traded. Although I wouldn't mind Connor Williams getting cut at this point either. But yeah, I think Preston will get cut. I think his chances of making this football team are diminishing because you look at the other options and there's just better options on this football team. Look, Hill, Waddle, said, Ezukanma, and Sherfield, I think right now are pretty much the locks to make it. And then if they carry just 6 wide receivers, you're looking at a 5-horse race for that final spot. Let's take a look at my roster projection here. Lynn Bowden Jr., I think, is going to win that final spot. I don't even think Preston's going to be the first man out, if you will. I think Craycraft has gotten ahead of Preston in this race. Mohamed Sanu maybe not even that far behind Preston either. And then Braylon Sanders, I know he was quiet on Saturday night, but he's looked very, very good in camp. I think Braylon Sanders has just as good of a chance of making this football team than Preston Williams, as wild as that sounds. But Preston has not really done anything to separate himself at camp. He has not done any favors for himself with his social media behavior, with his attitude in general. You should trade him because he's going to get cut either way. Will Preston Williams be on the team week 1? Type Y for yes or type in for no. It is the pinned comment on today's video. So when an ad break comes, take advantage of it. Go down, chime in, type Y for yes or type in for no. Batman says, will any running back break 1,000 yards this year? If so, who? That's a great question because when you look at this running back room, the top 3 running backs are going to split carries. Chase Edmonds, Sony Michel, Raheem Mostert. So no, I don't think the Dolphins are going to have a 1,000-yard rusher this year. If they do, it would be Chase Edmonds. He's going to be RB1 on this team, and I think Edmonds is in for a really big year. And when you look at McDaniel, he's known for working really well with running backs. He's known for his rushing offenses that he had in San Francisco. They had one of the best rushing offenses in the league last year. So I think it's going to be a really big year for the running backs on this team. If one guy gets 1,000, it'll be Edmonds. Let's get into Hi. What's up, Hi? Hashtag Dolphins. Sign Kevin King if Byron can't play week 1 and give others competition. Yes, I would say do this, or you got to bring someone in if Byron's going to be out. Byron Jones had surgery earlier this offseason. He was placed on the PUP list prior to the start of training camp. We have not seen him. Mike McDaniel says he's going to be ready week 1. I have doubts. I have doubts about Jones' status. I really hope he's good to go, but you have to have a decent backup plan in place because if not, Noah Igbenogany might be starting, which is not good. So you got to go out and maybe sign Kevin King. Joe Hayden is available. It's interesting because Drew Rosenhaus, who's obviously a top-tier agent, Tyreek Hill's agent, he lives in Miami, he went to the U, he's very plugged in with the Dolphins. Drew Rosenhaus said he's had conversations with the Dolphins about Joe Hayden maybe signing with the Dolphins. But he said, well, that doesn't really make much sense for my client because I don't want him to ride the bench. Hayden is still a starting level caliber player. And he's right. So if Jones can't go week 1 or week 2 or week 3, then maybe bringing in Joe Hayden, a vet, can make a lot of sense. I think it does make a lot of sense. Logan Lavish says, did you see Jake Paul was at camp yesterday? I did see that, Logan. I think producer Coop has got some pictures that he can show us from Jake Paul's appearance at camp yesterday. Eric Spoelstra, Miami Heat head coach, also there. So he's running a 40-yard dash. It looked like he was trying out for the team. He put on the helmet, had the Tyreek gloves on, was fielding some passes from Tua. Here's a picture of him with Tua Tagovailoa. So, interesting. Jake Paul showing up. He was on Tyreek Hill's podcast as well, so he's been hanging out with the Miami Dolphins the last couple of days. And, I was thinking about this because there were some people on Dolphins Twitter saying, is Jake Paul trying out for the team? What could he be trying out for? Well, the biggest team need right now is at the center position. So who do you think would be a better center? Connor Williams or Jake Paul? All we would need Jake Paul to do is snap the football. Boom. He's a good boxer. He's an athlete. Maybe he would be a better center. He can't be any worse. He can't be any worse than Connor Williams. Go down. Type CW for Connor Williams or type JP for Jake Paul. Go down. Chime in. Who would be the better center on this football team? It's funny because I made a couple comments around the Chat Sports office about I think he could go to any Miami high school, American Heritage, wherever, and that center would be better than Connor Williams. And I don't even think that's an exaggeration. Now, blocking-wise, obviously not. Connor Williams would be a better blocker, but a better snapper? It's not an exaggeration. David Storm says, how has I'm assuming you mean Melvin Ingram. I had to do a double check. I was like, wait, Mark Ingram got traded? No, Melvin Ingram. I'm sure you're asking about Storm. Melvin's looked good. Everyone that has commented about Melvin Ingram have raved about him, saying he's come in and he's been a leader right away. And that's what the Dolphins were getting when they signed him, a leader on this defense to come in. He was actually listed ahead of AVG on the depth chart. Very interesting. Melvin Ingram probably going to start on this football team. Cameron Reed. How has Channing Tindall been looking so far? Do you appreciate the question, Cameron? You're always in the chat. We appreciate you here on Dolphins Today. Channing Tindall has looked fantastic. In fact, his PFF grade the first week of the preseason was outstanding. And he's so quick. He had multiple tackles, a couple of those really big tackles, like third down tackles. So Tindall has looked very good. We have really seen his speed on display. I'm really excited about Channing Tindall. Go down. I want to put this back up on screen. We're going to give you some shout-outs. Pick a center. Type CW for Connor Williams or type JP for Jake Paul. Cap for Life saying, don't believe Travis Wingfield. He's corporate. Really, anyone who's saying Connor Williams is playing well, don't believe him because they're capping. Russell Swam saying, I guess that's from an earlier weigh-in. We got Nikki Baldy saying JP for Jake Paul. Sean Alexander saying Jake Paul is a better center than Connor Williams.
Well, he said JPP. Jason Pierre-Paul.
Oh, Jason Pierre-Paul. Okay, there we go. Honestly, yeah. Yeah, JPP would be better than Williams, too. Exactly. A guy with one hand would be better than Connor Williams. Why are we in this position right now? Oh, my goodness. Jay Manuel saying Jake Paul. Bill Lyons saying Lacina to Miami. David Storm saying facepalm. Yeah, facepalm when you're talking about Connor Williams. God, he sucks. Finley saying Jake Paul. John Ruiz saying Jake Paul. Sean Alexander laughing emoji. Appreciate you. Frankie the Lamb is saying let him go head-to-head. I think that's a great idea. By the way, we have almost 400 people watching. Only 92 likes on this video. Guys, got to get those numbers up. It's unbelievable. Don't make fun of me, guys, but just the other day, I watched Wolf of Wall Street for the first time ever. Just the other day, it was an unbelievable movie. Unbelievable movie. We got to pump those numbers up. Like this video. Pump those numbers up. Yes, pump those numbers up. Like this video down in the comments section. Dolph fans saying Jake Paul. We got SG Trick Shot Legend saying Jake Paul. Boom, boom, Jake Paul. I know the Dolphins were kind of getting made fun of for having Jake Paul at practice yesterday, but the guy's a winner, man. He's like undefeated as a boxer. We got Eddie saying, get all kinds of you guys in that position. He sucks. I think producer Jeff Cooperstein could be a better center than Connor Williams, John Ruiz saying already like the vid. Appreciate you. We got to get these likes up, guys. 112 likes. Go and like the video if you're watching. We appreciate you guys. Let's get to 150 likes by the end of this video. We got one more segment left. Then we're going to head out. So we got to get those likes up. Eddie saying Jake Paul. Really? Jake Paul. I think Jake Paul, they just got to put him at center. I mean, think about this for a second. We've seen, like, Will Ferrell pull up to spring training, right? And, like, you know, they'll let him play because it's exhibition. Let Jake Paul play in Saturday's game. Hashtag let Jake Paul play.
Hashtag Paul to Miami.
Hashtag Paul to Miami. Yes. Let Jake Paul play in Saturday's game. And let's put him head-to-head. Let's let him have one snap. And if it's clean, he's already better than Connor Williams. Like the video. We're getting into another segment here in a second.
We have to get to 125 likes before the segment starts.
Okay.
That's what I was told.
That is what producer Jeff Cooperstein has been told by the bosses. We have to get to 125 likes by the next segment. And on the next segment, we're going to be talking about a Dolphins-Raiders preview. 8 things to watch for. You do not want to miss it. We're there. 125 likes. Appreciate you guys. We're going to get into a Dolphins-Raiders preview talking about what to watch for in Saturday night's game. Welcome into Dolphins Today. I am Will Scott. Game day is Saturday night between the Miami Dolphins and the Las Vegas Raiders. The Dolphins playing Las Vegas in their second preseason game. We got the Fins coming in 1-0 in the preseason. Las Vegas coming in 2-0. They played in the Hall of Fame game, hence the extra game that the Raiders have played over the Dolphins. Should be a fun matchup. It's going to be Mike McDaniel's first time coaching at Hard Rock Stadium. Dolphins home opener, preseason home opener, if you will. But it's going to be a lot of fun to see Dolphins fans back in Hard Rock Stadium. Hopefully they'll have it rocking on Saturday night. Now, who do you got? Do you have the Raiders or do you have the Dolphins? Type LV for the Raiders or type MIA for the Dolphins. Go down, chime in. It is the pinned comment, so go down and reply to it when you get a second. Number one storyline, is Tua Tagovailoa going to play? He did not play in the first preseason game against Tampa Bay. Everyone is asking, is he going to play or is he not going to play? Tua said that he wants to play. He said that he's a competitor, that he wants to go out there and play. Mike McDaniel adding that it's going to be a game day decision, that about 90 minutes before kickoff, is he going to make that decision if Tua is going to play? And look, I understand that you want to keep him healthy, right? And after the Zach Wilson scare, you cannot blame any team for not playing their starters, especially starting quarterbacks in the preseason. But I want to see Tua play at least one drive on Saturday night. Do you want Tua to play? Type P for play or type B for bench. Go down, chime in. Do you want Dolphins starting quarterback Tua Tagovailoa to play in Saturday night's game? I'd like to see him play one drive and then take him out. Literally one drive, let him ball out, let him throw one deep ball, and then take him out because you don't want to risk injury to your starting quarterback. Could the backup quarterback, Teddy Bridgewater, play? Because he did not play in the Dolphins' first preseason game last week against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He did not play due to back tightness. And then Skylar Thompson woke up. I don't think he was expecting to start that game. Not only did Skylar start the game, but he played the entire game and played very well. Now, if Teddy doesn't play and Skylar balls out again, the noise is going to get loud about maybe trading away Bridgewater and letting Skylar Thompson be the backup quarterback on this football team. Even better, I mean, if Teddy comes out and struggles, throws a couple picks, and Sky balls out again, it's going to get very interesting in terms of the noise surrounding that quarterback situation. However, Teddy was a full participant at practice this week. He's expected to be fine for Saturday's game. And I want him to play because when you're looking at, the Dolphins QB situation, I mean, let's say, God forbid, Tua gets hurt, can't play early in the season. You don't want Teddy to come out rusty. You want him to get some experience under his belt with this offense. Now, if you're a Dolphins fan, you have come to the right place because we're bringing you Dolphins news, rumors, watch parties, post-game shows, and more. Go down, subscribe to the channel. We're going to be live on Saturday night for that game against Las Vegas. Let's talk about another quarterback, Skylar Thompson. What a debut that he had on Saturday night. In fact, and I've been made fun of in the Chat Sports office for saying this, it was the most impressive NFL preseason debut I have ever seen. And you might be saying, pump the brakes, Will Scott. But he played the entire game. That's very, very rare for any quarterback, much less a 7th-round pick, to play an entire preseason game. But with Tua resting, with Teddy injured, Skylar played the entire game and played exceptionally well, threw for over 200 yards, no interceptions, made very good decisions, went on the road, and led the Dolphins to a 26-24 win over the 2020 Super Bowl champs. I'm just saying, start to finish, most impressive NFL preseason debut of any starting quarterback, or any quarterback for that matter, that I have seen. Now, the question is, can Skylar Thompson sustain that level of success? I do not believe it was a fluke. I don't think you believe it was a fluke either. But I want to see him come out and do that same exact thing on Saturday night at home against the Raiders. And you can bet on that game at chatsports.com/bet through BetUS. If you use promo code Dolphins125, you can get a 125% deposit bonus. Great deal we're giving you. Go and take advantage of it, because the Dolphins are the underdog. And much like last week, they're the underdog again. So go and bet on the Dolphins to win the game. If you want to bet the over, life's too short to bet the under. That total is at 41.5. Again, chatsports.com/bet. Promo code Dolphins125. BetUS is the best way to bet on this preseason game, on all the preseason games, and especially the best way to bet during the regular season. Let's talk about the offensive line, because the offensive line is probably the biggest question mark, maybe the biggest weakness on this Dolphins team. And when you look at the numbers from that first preseason game, it was rough. Looking at the numbers here, we're going to pull them up in a second. So Austin Jackson actually had the highest PFF grade. Now, keep in mind, you see Calendish just 3 snaps. So take some of these grades with a grain of salt, because limited sample size. But Austin Jackson was the highest. He didn't even rank 70. So 68.3, Deesh 60.2, Pankey 53.7, and then the numbers just continue to get uglier and uglier. Eichenberg was a 44.2. Dieter had clean snaps, but I guess PFF said his blocking was not good on the 11 snaps he had. So those are the numbers from that first preseason game against the Buccaneers. And look, this offensive line right now has zero depth. I mean, Greg Little and Larnell Coleman, for crying out loud, are competing for the backup right tackle job. That is a problem. That is a big problem. I mean, you just have no depth. It's a really big issue right now in this football team. Now, let's take a look at some positive news in terms of how the offensive line did in that first preseason game. Solomon Kinley had a 85.5 pass block grade. I really, really like Kinley. He's growing on me. He looked pretty good in that category. Dieter also looked good in that category with a 78.6 pass block grade. And the stout that maybe stands out the most, no pressures allowed from Austin Jackson on his 11 snaps. You love to see it. Hopefully AJ plays a decent amount on Saturday. Now, the Dolphins did allow 3 sacks. Larnell Coleman, shocker, Keon Smith, and Cethan Carter all allowed sacks. The Coleman sack was inexcusable. The Carter sack was inexcusable. Keon, not great either. So the Dolphins did allow 3 sacks on Saturday night. But I want to see Kellen Diesch more. Kellen Diesch just had 3 snaps in the first preseason game, an undrafted free agent out of Arizona State. Was ranked by our own Tom Downey as the best NFL undrafted free agent. He had no business being UDFA. Had a 4th-round grade. I thought he was going to be an early day 3, maybe late day 2 pick. He goes undrafted. Dolphins pick him up, give him a lot of guaranteed money. So the fact that he only played 3 snaps and he's competing for a spot on this roster, I don't like that. I want to see Kellen Diesch a lot more against the Raiders. My week 1 grade for the offensive line is a C-. It was not good, but it wasn't as bad as the PFF grades make it out to be. But again, not good. A C-. We should not, I know C's get degrees, but we should not be happy with the C-. We want to see the offensive line do a little bit better on Saturday against Las Vegas. Let's talk about the rookie wide receivers, because this is a very interesting wide receiver room right now. And unfortunately, we did not see a lot of the rookie wide receivers on Saturday against the Bucs. Eric Ezukanma, just 2 receptions, both of those in the 4th quarter. Braylon Sanders, who has been really, really good in camp. No receptions, no targets either for Braylon Sanders. So I want to see these 2 guys get a lot more involved on Saturday against the Raiders, especially Braylon Sanders, because Ezukanma is going to make this football team anyway. Braylon is vying for a spot. He's a long shot to make this team at this point. I want to see him get a fair shot. Hopefully he'll get some more targets and be able to get a little bit more involved in this offense. Taking a look at the depth chart, the final spots are going to come down between River Craycraft, Preston Williams, Lynn Bowden Jr., Muhammad Sanu, and Braylon Sanders. One of those guys, I think, will get the final 1 or 2 maybe spots on this football team. Depends if they carry 6 or 7. But Braylon Sanders has to get more involved in this offense on Saturday if he wants a chance to make this team. Who's going to have the better game? Is it going to be Easy E, Eric Ezukanma, type E, or is it going to be Braylon Sanders, type B? Down in the comment section, go down, chime in, type E or type B. Let's talk about the cornerback composition because it just got a lot more interesting after the signing of Mackenzie Alexander. Trill Williams, in my opinion, was a lock to make this football team. He's out for the year. So now you're looking at this cornerback room after that 2 news. So we have Xavier Howard, Byron Jones, Nick Needham. Those are going to be the starters. Hopefully Jones is ready come week 1. Noah Benogany's on the roster bubble. Keon Croston, I think, is a lock to make this team. D'Angelo Ross on the bubble, as well as McKenzie and Cater Kohu. Hamilton has an outside chance. I think Igbo's going to get cut. I really do. I think Mackenzie Alexander is better than Noah Benogany. I think that Cater Kohu might be better than Noah Benogany. Igbo has not looked good in camp. He got burned in that game the other night as well. So he did not play on or I should say Cater Kohu did not play on Saturday, which I was disappointed about because I wanted to see him play. A UDFA out of Texas A&M Commerce that is competing for a roster spot on this football team. Hopefully he's good to go this Saturday. If not, his chances of making the team are going to be in serious jeopardy. But I really like Kohu. In fact, I like him better than Igbenogany at this point. And I understand that there's a $4.5 million dead cap hit if you cut Igbo, but you have to move on. Cut him, get rid of him. Let's talk about the punter competition because that also got a lot more interesting in the last 2 weeks after the signing of Sterling Hoffrichter. So here is the punter competition. You have Thomas Morstead, who is a 13-year vet, and Sterling Hoffrichter, a 7th-round pick out of, drumroll please, Syracuse University. Those two are going at it, trying to see who the starting punter on this football team is going to be. And I'm not biased at all, producer Jeff Cooperstein. I'm not biased at all when I'm talking about the punter competition. Now, Morstead has had a undisclosed injury. He did not practice last week, and he did not punt at all on Saturday. He played, but he was just the holder. Meanwhile, Hoffrichter had 4 punts inside, 4 punts total, 3 punts inside the 20-yard line on Saturday. He looked pretty good. While Morstead didn't punt, I think Sterling is going to beat out Thomas Morstead for this starting punter job. Who do you got? Is it Thomas Morstead, type T, or is it Sterling Hoffrichter, type S? I know a lot of y'all are going to be saying Thomas Morstead because he's just the bigger name. Keep in mind, though, 3 teams have let Morstead go in the last year or so. The Saints, the Jets, and the Falcons have all gotten rid of Thomas Morstead. Maybe the Dolphins will be the next team to do so. Let's talk about the running back room now because I think a lot of people were disappointed in that performance on Saturday by the Dolphins running backs. They did not look good. There was really no impact in terms of running the football for the Dolphins. So a lot of people are kind of saying, well, I don't know how this running back room is going to perform this season. Here's what I would say to that. Chase Edmonds and Raheem Mostert did not play. Those are arguably your top 2 running backs. Michelle got a little bit of time, but nobody outside of Myles Gaskin had more than 2 carries in that football game. That is something to keep in mind. We're looking at a very limited sample size when you look at Saturday's performance. The Dolphins just had 11 carries when you're looking at the running backs. But Jared Dokes and Zaquandre White are on the hot seat. Those 2 guys have to go out and have a decent game on Saturday, or they might be involved in the next batch of cuts. The roster on Tuesday goes down from 85 to 80. So this next preseason game is very important. I really like Zaquandre White. Unfortunately, he just had 1 carry for -5 yards on Saturday. Dokes had 2 carries. This is a really important game for those 2 on Saturday. And we'll be live on Saturday. Dolphins, Raiders watch party, 6:45 p.m. Eastern time. You do not want to miss it. We will see you there. And when you're talking about the Raiders, talking about an undefeated football team right now, 2-0 in the preseason. They beat the Jacksonville Jaguars 27-11 in that first preseason game. They also beat the Vikings last week 26-20 on August 14th. They play the Dolphins on Saturday, and then next Friday they take on the New England Patriots, who are just garbage this year. Let's talk about Derek Carr first, because Derek Carr, we have not seen him yet in the preseason for Las Vegas. Could he play? That is the question. I would love to see Tua and Derek Carr both play in this game. But Derek Carr, he's a very, very good quarterback. The Raiders do not want to risk injury, so he's one of the many starting quarterbacks around the league that we have not seen play. But still, there's a chance that he plays on Saturday night, maybe one drive or two. The backup quarterbacks are Nick Mullens and Jarrett Stidham. Obviously, a lot of Dolphins fans are going to be somewhat familiar with Stidham from his time in our division with the New England Patriots. He was the backup there for a few years. Now he's competing for the QB2 job in Las Vegas. Both of them have looked halfway decent in the preseason. Stidham, 18 for 30, 164 yards in his first two games. Nick Mullens, 15 of 20, 166 yards and a touchdown. So we're going to be watching a quarterback battle for the backup quarterback job in Las Vegas. We're going to be seeing that on Saturday night against the Dolphins defense. The Raiders' defensive line will present an interesting test for the Dolphins. Now, this is a defensive line that's been a little bit banged up this offseason, but Jonathan Hankins just returned to practice. I don't know if he's going to play or not, probably not, but I'm curious to see how this Raiders defensive line does against a pretty bad Dolphins offensive line. The Dolphins O-line has to look better this week than they did last week. Now go down and predict the score. What do you think the score of this game is going to be? The Dolphins won last week, 26-24 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm going to predict a low-scoring game. I'm going to say Dolphins 17, Raiders 13 on Saturday night in Miami. We're going to give some shout-outs before we head out. We got Bob Johnson saying he loves that prediction. I appreciate you, Bob. He says, can I get a shout-out? Of course. Oh, my goodness, we got two supers coming in. Cameron Reed. Appreciate you, Cameron. He says, go Fins. We got them Raiders. Yes, sir. Hey, Jeff Cooperstein, do you think we're going to take down the Raiders report on Saturday? Can we pull off the upset?
Let's go Fins, baby.
Fins Nation, you know how we do it. You know how we do it. Let's show up on Saturday night. Turn on your notifications so you do not miss when we're live. We're going to be live Saturday night for that game. We got Aldo Mayagora. We appreciate you, man. Thanks so much for the super chat. Expectations are high, but all comes down to performance. Dolphins should have signed a true center and another offensive lineman if they really want to go over the hump. We have waited too long for this. Let's go, Greer. Come on. I could not agree more. When you're looking at available offensive linemen, J.C. Tretter's still there. Hashtag JC to Miami. Darrell Williams is still there. Your offensive line could be this: Armstead, Connor Williams, J.C. Tretter. Oh, my goodness. I'm getting excited thinking about it. Robert Hunt, and then Darrell Williams. That's one of the best offensive lines in the league after he had the worst offensive line in the league last year. Hashtag JC to Miami. Make it happen. Go down and pick a center, by the way. Is it going to be Connor Williams or is it going to be Jake Paul? John Ruiz, shout out to you. John Ruiz says the Dolphins are going to win 20-15 on Saturday night. Still over 300 people watching. You can still super chat to get on the show. We're going to keep it live here for a second. Reaper is saying he's going to be there on Saturday night. He's bringing the wings. I appreciate you, man. Bringing the wings. I love wings. What's your favorite game day food, Coop?
Ooh, wings got to be up there.
Wings are so elite.
Some garlic parm wings.
We had wings last week. So good. Wings or pizza though? Wings? I'm going to say wings.
I'm going wings over pizza for sure.
Well, like on just like a routine night like pizza, but when you're watching football, wings are hard to beat. Demon Magician saying, can I get a shout out? Of course you can, man. We appreciate you watching the show. Game Jones going with Connor Williams. We got John Ruiz going with JP. Robert Trainer saying the Dolphins are going to win 27-20. Zachary Boyle saying Fins lose because of Jake Paul. Well, they're going to lose because of Connor Williams, so we might as well throw Jake Paul in there. Go down, predict the score. Saturday's game, Dolphins, Raiders. Dolphins today against Raiders report. A lot of things at stake on Saturday night. Predict the score, Coop. Dolphins or Raiders? Who you got?
I'll take the Dolphins. Let me go 24-14 Dolphins.
Go Dolphins, baby.
Let's go.
Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins #1. Sing it, Coop. Because we're the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins #1. Dolphins fight song. Best song around. Bill Lyons saying Buffalo wings in the queues, nothing better. Bill, I want to hear, what's your go-to wing spot in Syracuse? Is it wings over? Go down, comment. So Bill Lyon, a subscriber of Dolphins Today, he is from Syracuse, New York. So I always appreciate him in the chat because I can relate to some of the spots he's talking about. Patrick saying that what 5% said Raiders. We got 5% of people thinking the Raiders are going to win this game.
Complete frauds.
It's unbelievable. Eddie Hutchins saying go Fins. We got David Storm saying 24-21. John Ruiz saying Willie Fins. We have Ethan Booth saying the Dolphins will win 27-20. We have to get the offensive line going. I cannot agree more. Go down, predict the score. We're giving shout-outs here. Will Scott, Jeffrey Cooperstein on today's show. Coop, favorite song of all time. Go.
Song of all time, The Motto by Drake.
Oh, so good.
Best one.
So good.
Best
so
song
good.
ever.
So good. Mine is Dancing Queen by ABBA. So good. I'm a big ABBA fan. Game Jones saying Miami 20-13. Demon Magician saying 24-13 Dolphins. Appreciate you all in the chat. Bill Lyon, where you at in the chat, man? I want to know what your favorite wing spot is. Syracuse, New York. Change of pace is so good, Bill Lyon. Change of pace is so good. Oh, I miss that place. Oh, I miss Syracuse, man. Syracuse in the summer, a lot of fun. Hashtag Batman saying hashtag Willie Fins for center. I feel like I could snap the football better than Connor Williams. I really do. Well, remember when I tried to snap in here one time and almost broke a light?
I do remember that, yes.
I don't think that I should try snapping the football in the office again.
Don't do that at Chat Sports.
But, no, like, seriously. How about this? If Connor Williams struggles on Saturday, I will submit a tryout video to the Miami Dolphins where I will snap the football to you. You can be my quarterback. And I'll snap it in the office, like not in studio, just in the office, and I'll send it to the Dolphins. That's a fact. I'll do it. And I guarantee you, because my uncle, shout out Kyle Lednecke, goodness, I'm running out of breath. He was the starting long snapper at A&M on that 98 championship team, Big 12 championship team. So it's in my genes. I have snapping in my genes. I might be better than Connor Williams. Maybe. Who you got? Las Vegas or Miami? Type LV. John Ruiz saying Willie fins up. We're going to get out of here in a second. I'll give a couple more shout-outs. John Ruiz saying Miami's going to win. Ethan Booth saying Miami's going to win. We really appreciate y'all watching. Again, we're going to be live on Saturday night, 6:45 p.m. Eastern Time, 5:45 Pacific, or I should say Central Time. Subscribe right there, youtube.com/Dolphins News. We'll see you for our watch party against the Raiders on